Hey guys, what's up? My name is Chelsea L, and I am your local trauma dumping MILF. I am the founder and executive director of Resilient Provisions and also the host of this podcast, which is called Burdensome Blessings. We are kicking off tonight and celebrating my 5-year sober anniversary. And so you guys will have to bear with me because I literally have like a half of a functioning brain cell right now. I went to Black Hawk last night, and thought that it would be a great idea to stay out and up super late. And it turns out at the ripe age of 35, that is not a good idea because I was up at 5:30 this morning, hit the ground running. We keep our routine pretty tight. And that means you wake up and meditate, you do your breakfast, get ready routine, and then we were out the door by 7 a.m. I was very blessed today. I got to spend the day with some of my favorite human beings, surrounded by women that are also in sobriety. The love and light and, just absolute beauty that these creatures carry, and I get to call them my friends. So we spent our day. I set up a tattoo flash event with one of my girlfriend. She's a super badass, like super badass tattoo artist. She goes by VV Inks on Instagram. Go find her, look her up. She's a force to be reckoned with, just like solid human being, right? But we spent the day there and just being able to make memories together and have something permanent and impactful to remember our bonds and this day. For me, when I was like reflecting back, like, how do I want to spend my sobriety date? Like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I want to spend it with my girlfriends doing some of the coolest, most memorable shit. And that's like just spending time together and getting tattooed together. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of laughter. So yeah, but anyways, I have half of a fucking brain cell right now and I am like tapped out, but I knew that if I did not come down here and record a little something to talk about my 5-year soberversary, that I would regret it. So here I am showing up in all of my fucking glory, ready to throw down some fucking heat about sobriety, about life, some love, maybe a little bit of logic. Who knows where this is going? Okay. So 5 years of sobriety, huge reflection. I had 7 years prior to this. I relapsed super hard, destroyed my entire life, threw everything away, and now have been building it back up from basically rock bottom. And when I say rock bottom, I mean like the ugly fucking depths of despair. You guys, the darkest places that I had found myself in, that things I experienced and went through that I never thought would be a part of my life, right? But I had convinced myself that I could handle management. And it turns out that I definitely cannot. There is no managing addiction or this disease. And so it's just best if you show up and are capable of being honest with yourself and recognizing you are not a normie and this cannot be a part of your life. Or if it is a part of your life, that you're just gonna basically shortchange yourself and not show up in the optimal version that you have been called to be on this plane, in this lifetime, on this timeline. Like, there is so much more for us in this life than being disembodied and disassociated and haphazardly, royally fucking up 24/7. The way that my decisions impacted not only myself and my children, but other people as well. It's really hard to look back on. It's very disheartening. It's very hurtful. And so when today they brought me a cake, and which is like the sweetest thing ever, first of all, because I've been on a high protein, low carb lifestyle change for a while. I haven't eaten cake, you guys, and I don't even know how long, but they got it from Whole Foods, like, bless. It was so good. It was so divine. But they brought me a cake and, they're like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, you guys, it is really in everybody's best interest, everybody around me, that I am sober and that I stay sober, because the path of destruction that I fucking leave, not only when I'm just not sober and I'm using, but when my mental state is not that of healing and clarity. I am a fucking nightmare of a human being. I am selfish. I am mean. I am all of these things that I just like. It's stuff that just makes me want to turn myself inside out, you know? And there's even things through my sobriety that I look back on before I was really working my recovery, and I look back on these things and I'm like, oh my God, like I am so disgusted with my own behavior. And yes, I will take accountability for that radically so that I can like transmute that and go through this metamorphosis phase where you're just like, ugh. But I feel like that disgust is something that is so important. And so there's something in the big book of AA that they talk about, and that's you're constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself. And so when you face yourself in that way, it's like you against you, and one of you has to die. I've talked about that before. It's your ego death, and then you bring your authenticity forward and you're living through your spirit. Like, it is so worth every gut wrenching experience, the tears, the accountability. It's hard. It's really hard. Healing is really hard. Facing your inner child and that rebellious teenager and all the ways that you fucked up and you hurt other people, like that shit sucks. It sucks, you guys. But in order to grow through it and come out stronger and better on the other side, you're going to show up, you're going to live differently, you're going to fucking do differently. Like, you kind of have to go through that shit and recognize where you were offbeat. You were off the path. You were fighting for your fucking life. You were clawing yourself literally out of the depths of hell. And in doing so, you are defensive and you are overprotective. And like I said, you're selfish. Okay. But in facing all of that stuff about yourself, there is something beautiful that comes out of that, and recognizing the love that you hold. And you just show up in the world and you want to do better and you want to be better and you want to make sure that nobody else around you ever has to feel the way that you felt, that nobody feels like they're not loved, like they're not heard, like they're not cared about, because you know what that feels like. And when you feel that way, that corrupts something in you. And that's where that darkness and ugliness comes from, you know? And so I don't pretend to be a professional. I am radically fucking obsessed with psychology and sociology and now neurobiology and interpersonal, just neuroscience. Like, oh my goodness, you guys, the way that I love this shit, okay? And I've made it my personal mission to just make this a part of my life and live this way. I just want to be healthy. I want to function healthy. And I want the people around me to also reach their highest, greatest version and timeline. We are capable of beautiful and amazing things, but we grow up believing that we're all these things that other people say about us. Or we grow up believing that this love that we're seeking and this wholeness is so far outside of ourselves, right? And that's when I bring up and talk about sovereignty, which, if this is a new concept to you guys, just sovereignty in general, dive head first into that shit and start developing an understanding of what it is, research it, and figure out what your belief system is surrounding it, or your morals, values. Because once you start opening, like, you open this can of worm, there's really no lid that you can put back on it, you know, and it leads you to a higher path, higher vibration, higher timeline. It's fantastic. Also extremely difficult. So just heed the warning, but I highly encourage that you guys look into it, because the beauty that comes from it, like, I can't even put into words the changes that have happened even in the last 3 months. And it has taken me radically being honest with myself and facing myself to grow and develop and accept some things about myself that I'm like, oh, like, I don't love this. And I know that this shit is not necessarily my fucking identity, right? But there's some characteristic flaws and some traits that I don't really love. So, in my 5 years of sobriety, there's been a lot of lessons learned, a lot of hard fucking lessons. If you guys have been around, you've heard my story. Most of you, as my community, you were there to help pick me up in the hardest and the worst times. And those are the times that I'm talking about that I never thought would be a part of my life. So I ended up homeless with my 3 kids. I was pregnant with my 4th. CPS got involved because of DV situations. And we're not going to go too much into like all that shit, right? But I was at the lowest point and was literally like, how the fuck is this life? Or how the fuck is this my life? You know, like, how did I get here? And when I go back and I think about this, all of it connects back to my relapse. I would have never found myself in those places had I not made the choices that I did. And it was that one drink, the decision for that one drink. And it was the downhill fucking slide from there and the chaos that ensued, you guys. And it's taken me, I'm now, 5 years into the cleanup of it. And we're getting our footing and we're bouncing back stronger than ever before. Like I said, it's beautiful, this transmutation that's happened. But it's hard. It's really hard to recognize that my choices and my actions set the foundation for this fucking destruction. And so I've had to have a lot of grace with myself. So about a year ago, I had stepped foot into the rooms of AA, and my journey began at a place called Free Recovery Community. And stepping foot into that room felt insufferable. I'm not going to lie. I was at the end of my rope and was just like, I need to do something to address this and to get better. And I'm just going to go to this place and I'm going to figure it out from there. We're going to see like what this is all about. And so I went to an AA meeting that seemed like it was like more my beat, it's like not so structured or fucking granola. And that was probably one of the best choices I could have made for myself. And not all good has come from it, but a lot more positive and health has come from it than negative. And so going and embarking on the journey, doing a 12-step journey and actually diving headfirst into recovery, the individuals that I have been surrounded by it's breathtaking. You guys, when we talk about a higher power, the way that I am able to look at these human beings and these individuals and recognize love within them, it's way, way easier for me to see love within other people than it is myself. And we're really working hard on that, obviously. It is so much easier to extend grace to other people than it is ourselves. It's so much easier for me to see that those are sovereign beings and I look at them as their inner child, and I could literally justify a person out of a paper fucking bag, which is a blessing and a curse, I guess, but I can look at human beings and I love all of them. I don't like all of them, right? But I truthfully, when I am functioning in alignment, I love all human beings so fucking much. And I'm only able to do that from the source that is within me. Because when I'm operating out of my ego, that's when I'm not very nice. You know what I'm saying? And being rude or not being nice or not liking people, like that kind of stuff. Some of it's boundaries, which is very important, especially if you're empathetic. But the other part of that is you're not in alignment with yourself and your soul's purpose. And so I have a tendency, because I can talk about this shit forever, to overcomplicate things. But it can be pretty simple. And so if you guys follow my TikTok at all, I do TikTok talks. And the one that I did on Valentine's Day was about love, because in my AA meeting, my home group meeting, we meet at 8 a.m. It's an all women's meeting. And that was a safe place for me too. That's a different meeting than the one that I originally stepped foot into at Free Recovery Community. this other all women's meeting that became the safest place for me, and that's my home meeting, just because it was all females, right? And so coming out of my DV situation, you guys have heard me talk about this. I was not even comfortable being behind closed doors with a male. And so my clientele, I'm a hairstylist and makeup artist. I have my own salon. I completely quit taking male clients completely. And I have not even built back my male clientele because it wasn't even until recent that I was even comfortable, like fully comfortable being behind closed doors and feeling safe and protected and not operating out of that like hypervigilance and freaking out and having just like trauma responses. Whether I was safe or not, like just males in general were and historically have been the threat, right? Um, anyways, this 8 a.m. meeting, these women, like we were talking about love and it was on Valentine's Day. And I was like, you guys, like, this is a very complex thing to talk about. But then the more that I talk about, I'm like, I can make it complex and we can dig into all these different aspects of it. But it really is pretty simple. And where the simplicity comes out is when I'm trying to explain it to my kids because they have started on their little philosophical journeys and it is really cool to witness and really cool to be a part of, but they start asking me these questions and I'm like, shit, like, how do I answer this in the most elementary way possible? And when I do, I'm like, it's really not that complex. We make it more complex because we have information coming in from all these different sources, and a lot of them are from our own lived experiences, which typically are not so positive, or they're unhealthy experiences. And so we take all of that information and add it into these explanations or these like vocabularies or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That like makes up our perception about it. And so when I was talking about love on my TikTok talk the other day, I was just explaining like it's way easier for me to tell people what love is not than it is for me to tell people what love is in a long form like explanation. But when I'm talking to my kids and I explain to them what love is, it's so simple. It's so fucking simple and it's so beautiful and it's connection and it's source. But it's until you know that feeling, it's until you have that resonance that you are either able to identify it or you're not able to identify it. And so step 1 and step 2 were kind of a challenge for me the first time I did the 12 steps. They were kind of way easier the second time. The shit's still a challenge, don't get me wrong. But I was able to accept it more. I was able to walk through it easier and have a different understanding because I was able to chew on it for longer. I had built a digestive system that could actually process all of this shit. And instead of answering in like a defensive manner or more of just like a theological, I was like in this place of humility. And I think it comes with growth and maturity that I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have it all figured out. This is where I'm at and this is what I think, but I hold it with neutrality. And then it has this like fluidity that I'm like, it can change at any time. And I'm open to always gathering and hearing more information and being flexible with things. And that's the maturity that I'm talking about, that I don't need to know everything and have everything figured out. I don't have a moral superiority over anybody. And so I don't know. It's fucking beautiful. It's a lot. And really, with all of this, where I'm going is the amount of love that is in my life that stemmed from the decision and the choice to walk into a room of AA. What has come from that, the relationships that have come from that. Like, I am surrounded by community, and these women, you guys, I can't even put it into words. Like, if you haven't heard of the red tint, I need you guys to look that up. There's a book also that's called Pussy Reclamation. You need to look that up. There's another book called Rise, Sister, Rise. Like, do your homework. These are resources that will absolutely fucking change everything about your life. And this is the shit that I fucking live for, you know? I typically have an ear pod in and I have something running or I'm listening to, not 24/7. I try to take a break from it and give myself some quiet time and some downtime, because if we overflood our brain with too much information, like, you're not going to be able to download it all. You're not going to hold it all, you know? And so I have really just been able to focus on female friendships and relationships, which has helped connect me to my divine feminine and reestablish a health in me that I didn't recognize I needed. Like, there was always this thought of like, I would like to have these girlfriends and I would love to have these relationships and blah, blah, blah. But once it actually happened, and it happened organically and naturally. Like, this was natural progression of like, I went where I felt like I was supposed to go. And when I was in those places, these other people showed up and was like, hey, I think you're my people. And I was like, I think you're my people. And then we peopled, like, in a really healthy, beautiful way that I had never peopled before, you know? So today is the fruit of that. I'm actively living in it, and I am actively, like, these women are breathing life into me on the hardest day, on the saddest days, when I'm struggling as a mom, when I'm struggling as a ex-wife, an ex-girlfriend, a fucking sister, a daughter. Like, they are there, rain or shine. I could call any of them at any point and be like, hey, I'm not doing okay. And they're like, where are you at? I'm going to be there. Or let's talk this through, whatever. I've never had that kind of support before. And it's really hard to receive at first. Very challenging to receive. You want to push it away. You're like, I'm not worthy of this. And these people literally breathe this life into you. Everybody needs community like this. However, it's not until you're stepping in the right direction that this community is going to be brought to you and surround you and give you this fucking hug that you're like, I did not know that I needed this hug. Because when you receive that hug, floodgates. You guys, I have said many of times before, I used to always be like, I don't have tear ducts. I don't cry, right? Turns out I definitely have tear ducts. And the more that I've gotten in touch with myself, the more that I've gotten in touch with my authenticity and I'm like embodied, I cry all the time. So much. So much. And it's beautiful, like these healing waters and the movement, all of it. It's glorious. So I am extremely fucking grateful. I'm resting in gratitude, even through the bullshit. You know, when I'm talking about the hard times and these fucked up situations and peopling and how unhealthy and toxic situations can be, and how I'm the only one that's in control of myself and how I move in that, and accountability and all of these different things, right? This whole picture I have so much gratitude for. And it wasn't until recently, like even the worst of my DV situation and coming out of that and going through the hard times that I did in family court and seeing the impact on my kids and the long-term impact of cleaning that shit up, is like, I actually have so much gratitude for that situation, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And not only would I not be where I'm at, but I would not have the community that I do. So every fucked up situation, every failed situation, every pivot, every fucking ricochet that I have had to embrace and fucking pull up my bootstraps and handle my shit, like, bless. It's such an honor to be able to show up and do this. And the level of gratitude that I walk in every fucking day, because I get to wake up sober. Like, I was up at 5:30 this morning, got to watch the sunrise. The mountains. Oh my goodness. And you'll hear people talk about in AA meetings the technicolor, this like new smell or scene, or hearing birds chirp in a way that you never have before, and the way that it just like, it's like, also look into the sonic bloom if you guys have never heard of that. Like, I'm sorry, what? This universe is so perfectly orchestrated and beautiful, but being able to recognize that and hold that with the utmost fucking reverence, I couldn't ask for anything better, y'all. I really couldn't. So I always am going to have so much more to say. I'm going to put the cap on this because I am starving, and also because my phone's dying all the time. So I'm going to sign off. I love you guys. I am grateful to be here. I'm grateful to share with you guys. I'm grateful if you're here to listen. I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to start kicking this podcast off in a much bigger way. I'm going this next week to start decorating in the studio and doing some things with my new podcast, Mommy and Daddy. And I'm also so fucking stoked to have these human beings in my life because they are cool as fuck. I can't wait to introduce you guys to them. But just the opportunity. Like, oh, that's a whole nother thing that I could talk about. Love and opportunities. I don't know. It's fucking sunshine over here, my friends. And I'm just grateful that I get the opportunity to do this and show up this way. And one last thing, like, I used to fucking hate redemption because I lived in this idea of perfectionism and I wanted to get it right the first time. All like, if I could just get it right, then I wouldn't need redemption. And in hindsight, I'm like, I am so fucking grateful for second chances on second chances on second chances that I get to pivot, that I get to try again, that I can fall the fuck down hard. You know, I can crash the fuck out hard and I get a chance to stand up, dust myself off with dignity, with integrity, and I get to fucking show up and do it again the next day. And the only person that I'm in fucking competition with is who I was yesterday. It's fucking glorious. I don't know. Love you guys.